Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with Emene Ifeanyi. Today we are going to be looking at how to secure ourselves, how to secure our family, and how to secure our job and our future. Because I've come to realize that a lot of us, though we are working hard at our job, we are working hard in what we do, but we fail to do one or two subtle things, one or two critical things that are very vital to protecting our family, protecting our job, and protecting our future for ourselves. Now, most of us will think that we are working hard. Most of us will think that we've been doing things to protect our family. But there are things that we've been taking for granted, which if we learn today, I guarantee you can move you from where you are and put you in a more secure position in life, put you in a place where you can be safe and act confidently. Now, I learned this by observing the great Apostle Paul in the Bible. There are certain things that this young man did when he was during his own time that I think that most of us now need to learn from him so that we can at least learn to protect these three key areas of our life, which is our family, our job, and our future. Now, for those of us who know about Paul, he was an apostle that was called in some circumstances because initially he was persecuting Christians until he was stopped abruptly by God in his track, and he was now converted to become a preacher of the gospel. Now, when Paul started, he did some things that initially for most people who read it didn't really make sense. But when I take time to study these things that he did, I realized that Paul was trying to secure his future, trying to protect himself so that he could do his job very well. Because if he hadn't done this set of things, it means that it would have been more difficult for him to succeed in what he was doing. Now, what are these things that Paul did that we need to learn from? The first thing that Paul did was immediately he set out to start to evangelize. The moment he came in contact with a Roman governor, the first thing Paul did was to change his name from Saul to Paul. Now, it means that for you to secure yourself, you need to realize that the way you choose your name, the way you select the names you choose to be called are very, very important. I was listening to a message by the great W. Clement Stone, and he said that when he was starting off in his line of business, that he used to write C. Stone, like most of us do. We just abbreviate our first name and put our surname. So until when he went to give a very wealthy man his complimentary card, when he showed the man his complimentary card, the man looked at it and said, "What rubbish is this?" He said, he was surprised and wanted to know why the man was saying what's wrong. He said, do you know how many C stones there are all over the world? He said, there might be enough. He said, there are so many C stones. But that he asked him what are his other names. He told him that Williams Clement Stone. He said, do you know that there's actually one W. Clement Stone in the world? And he said, when this thing hit him, he realized that he needed to put something that will separate him from every other person. Now, I want to ask you, is there anything about your name, anything about your identity that separates you from other people? Because if you don't have this set of identity, if you don't have this set of things that can stand you out, especially with your naming, then it becomes difficult for you in a crowd to stand out. I can tell you, assuming that you are in a crowd and somebody mentions a name like Dangote, do you think all ears will be turned? Or all eye will be turned to the person who answers? It means that there was something that was done to that name by the owner of the names. So it's very important for you now to also start to brand yourself and brand your name. Give your name as a form of identity. Find something that can strengthen your name. Because the more powerful your name is, the more powerful that a name can be associated with you, the more you stand out from the crowd. You know, in school, when I was trying to run for the post of the Students' Union Director of Transport, the first thing I did was to select a name that stood me out. And I found out that in the course of the campaign, what people remember the most was the set of initial and the first name attached to it. Even up to today, people still refer to me by the name I called myself when I was still in school. It's important for you to make a set of names that can stand you out, such that anytime that name is mentioned, people will know who is being referred to. The first point is brand identity. Now, there was something that was very critical too that Paul did. If you realize, there was a particular point where after he was arrested and the Jews attacked him, so the Romans came to rescue him. Now, the Romans wanted to scourge him. Scourging was wiping with a special whip, was flogging with a special whip that the Romans have. They say that when this thing is applied to any human being, the person will definitely tell the truth. Now, the moment they handcuffed Paul to take him to the place of scourging, Paul turned to the Roman officer and asked them, is it lawful for you to scourge a Roman citizen who has not been condemned? Immediately they heard that this man was a Roman citizen. They said that those who wanted to scourge him, all of them became fearful. The point I'm trying to make is, do you have something attached to yourself? Do you have a point of association? Do you have something that when it's mentioned in relationship with you, will make people step back from trying to do you harm or take advantage of you? You know, there was a young man who was telling a story about somebody who was owing him. And he went to his uncle, who was a member of the Metropolitan Club. And this uncle of his said, no problem, I know the man who is owing you. And when he went there, he said, I heard, do you know this young man? He said, no. Well, he's my cousin. Are you owing him? When he looked at the person who said that the young man was his nephew, he immediately said, oh, sorry, I think we are owing him, we'll pay him back. It means that there are some certain people certain associations you need to build around you. Paul realized that at that particular point, that being a Roman, having Roman citizenship was critical to securing him in his course in the line of work. Because in that particular time, being a Christian evangelist was a dangerous line of work. So one of the things that Paul did was to get a form of covering, which Roman citizenship conferred upon him. Now, which covering do you have upon yourself? What have you tried to do? Are there relationships you have built? Are there associations you have built? Are there reputations you have built that can protect you? You know, there are certain people who, because they have been so prominent online, it will be difficult for any government to touch them based on their online reputation. What reputation do you have, even if it's online? Have you ever even tried to build up anything that can relate your name to make you stand out? The next thing too that I think is critical for you and your business is, you need to realize that for you to secure yourself and secure your business, that your business needs to be registered. Are you running an unregistered business? Because if you don't understand the way business is structured, most of us are running our businesses as enterprises. Now, what you need to realize that when you are running your business as an enterprise, any risk you take as a business actually falls down upon you as a person. It means that if the business incurs any business risk and the business cannot pay, that they can come and lay hold on your personal belonging. But if you register your business as a limited liability company, it means that your personal belonging, your personal asset has been secured from being tampered with when the business incurs some certain forms of losses. This is a critical security that you need to have, such that at least your personal properties can be secured in case anything happens to the business. Also, some of you might have some intellectual properties. You might have written some books. You might have some designs of your product. Have you thought that what will happen if somebody comes and copies that your product and even goes to register it first? You know, there are a lot of stories of people who have developed products. They've worked on this product and this product have built reputation. Only for them to realize, only for somebody who has seen this product moving forward to go and check with the trademark office, find that this product has not been registered, they register it. And once they register this product, the original owner can't do anything about it. It's important for you to, at least for those products that you have registered, you have developed, for those brands you have worked on, go and register them. Register them with the Trademark Commission. Try also to personally brand those things that you have developed. It's very, very important for you to do this, so that you can know that at any particular point, that thing has a security that has been placed on it, such that people cannot easily come and take over what you have built. You know, there are people who have built structures, who have built massive structure, only for them to wake up one day and find out that they have disappeared. And what happened? Because when they were building this structure, they did not take out time to lay out any legal framework. Most of you are in business relationship. Is there any written business document binding you and the person who you are doing business with. You know, personally, I've lost a lot of money because I've gone into some business relationship with people, clients, who will say, okay, let's just start this thing. With time, I'll pay you. Eventually, when it goes to the time of payment, what they paid was not what we initially agreed on. But if I had a written agreement, most of these things will not have come up. I can tell you that another way of securing yourself is when you are going into a business relationship with anybody, make sure you have written documents. Don't just say this person is my friend. Even if he's your friend, just draft something on a piece of paper so that both of you can sign. Because I know two brothers who started a set of businesses in Nigeria, and with time, when they started to get married, trouble started to come. Now, because they started this thing together, it became difficult to know who owned what. And this thing resulted in serious problems between these two brothers. But it would have been a lot easier for them to handle if from day one they had written the terms and conditions of how they will run this business. I can tell you that your future is in jeopardy if you don't take out time in all the business transactions you're having to write them out and find a way of putting something in paper to bind you and those who are having business dealings with. No matter how close you are with the people, I can tell you that even yourself at now have passed through one or two business failure or one or two problems with some people who you call your close friends. It's important that you secure your future by having this agreement written. Now, another safety that every human being must have is you must have some form of financial savings. Now, why do I call this thing safety? Because I've come to realize that at any particular point that I don't have a certain amount of savings in my account, I find out that I tend to make bad business decisions. And how do I make bad decisions based on the bank balance I have? I found out that once I don't have a certain amount of bank balance in my account, I become a bit desperate in business transactions. And that forced me to take bad decisions because I want the money desperately to have some more money that I can make up. But the moment I know that I have some savings in the account, it makes me to analyze business transactions confidently and execute them more better. I can tell you that if you start now to build up some savings, there are some decisions that you are taking. There are some bad decisions that you are taking now. There are some frustration that will be creeping into your life that you will not be that will suddenly disappear. You find yourself making better decisions, especially when it has to do with financial implications. Now, the other way too that I think you need to secure yourself is letting your loved ones know the passwords and the codes to some of the assets you have. No, one thing, a few years back, what I did was I called my wife and all the passwords to all my accounts, all my online accounts, I gave her password because I knew that there might come a time where I might not be able to access all these accounts, and I needed somebody who will be able to access them. Find a way of having somebody a backup of all your online passwords. Find also a way to make it so that it will be easier for your people, your close ones, to be able to access them. Now, the other area too that I think is very, very important for all of us is also backing yourself, securing yourself with a lot of knowledge, especially knowledge about your competitor. Because there was something that Paul did, when they brought him before the Sanhedrin, Paul realized that the Sanhedrin comprises of the Sadducees and the Pharisees. Now, the Sadducees did not believe that there was resurrection, and the Pharisees believed that after somebody died, that the spirit of that person will resurrect. Paul realized that though these people were coming to have a meeting to try him, that they disagreed over this particular point. And when he came up to speak, he said that today I'm being tried because I believed in the resurrection of the dead. And suddenly the Pharisees said, okay, this guy believes what we believe. And the Sadducees said, this guy he's saying something, some trash. And there was a quarrel between the Pharisees and the Sadducees. That way Paul could escape. I can tell you that if you have not taken time to study your competitor, to at least have some inside information about your competitor, then it might be very easy for them to destroy you. There was a particular point recently in Nigeria, a particular former head of state there was rumor then that he was about to be persecuted, and he came out and said about the president of Nigeria then, president of Nigeria say, see, Mr. Man, I know certain things about you when you are in social position, when you're in social position. And if you want to start anything, we can open the can of worms. And that was the end of all the investigation about him. I want to tell you that it's critical for you to secure your future to know as much as possible about your future. You know, there was a film I was watching recently. It was an American film. And they said in the film, the American and some Chinese on sea, when they had some altercation, and when they called the Japanese ship captain and American, they wanted to call an interpreter to come and interpret between them. The Chinese started to speak fluent English, and the American was surprised. How come you Chinese man can speak English? I said, didn't your America teach us that for you to know your opponent very well, it's very important for you to understand everything about him? I can tell you that in whatever you are doing, for those who are your competitors, for you to survive, you must know almost everything about them. Get as much details about them such that at any particular point they want to come against you, you can tell them to, see, you are coming against me with this, I also have this against you. And that way, some destructive thing that would have come your way would be averted. See, there are things that most of us have been taking for granted. We take our financial position for granted, and that way it becomes very easy for our life, our family to be crushed. We take our family protection for granted, and that way our family is hurt. I tell you that it's important for you to start to protect and preserve your family. Now, there are also another form of protection you need to have is educational and certificate protection. See, there are, for instance, there are a lot of times in Nigeria where I've been stopped by the police, and I normally have drugs in my boots. Now, once they open and see the different kinds of medicine and in my boot, they ask, once say, we're going to the station. I say, yes, no problem, let's go. And once I say, yes, say, most of them, even if we get to the station, so who are you? I don't even say, what I just do is to bring out my pharmacist license. Once they see the pharmacist license, automatically they know that this person is qualified, is protected, and is authorized to do whatever he's doing. Now, for most people too, most other people who, because they don't have that same license, once they are caught, despite the fact that the medicine they have is genuine, despite the fact that there's no law against non-pharmacists having medicine on them, most of them are taken to the station and they cough out a huge amount of money. I can tell you that if you start to get qualifications, that is a huge safeguard against, there are times that an organization might want to start to retrench. And the people they consider, first of all, in retrenching are those who have lower forms of qualification. So protect yourself too by getting as much qualification as possible. Yes, it's important to get the knowledge, but the certification too is very important, because once, there are certain, somebody that once they start to list the person's qualification, the amount of respect you have for the person, the admiration you have for the person starts to rise. There's somebody you see, you might not regard so much, but when they start to list the person's qualification, you find yourself having so much respect and regard for that same person. My brothers, my sisters, I really want you to do something about protecting yourself. If Paul could protect himself, it tells us that there are certain subtle ways that we also need to protect ourselves. Get all this protection so that at least wherever you are, you know that there's something that everything you are doing, you can do them confidently. You know that whatever you are doing, you are not doing it out of fear. You are not doing it out of anxiety, because this protection, these safeguards are around you, protecting and preserving you. I believe that I've been able to communicate something to you this evening that can help you to move forward in life. And I believe that one way or the other, you have learned something that can touch your life, can make you go back and take out all those, one form of precaution that you've been missing out, one form of protection that you've not done in your life. And I know that the more you do this, at least your life, your family, and your future will be preserved. Now, we We also run a series of training for business owners. So if you're interested in having a business talk for business, and maybe if you're facing some business challenges, you can reach us on 080232171. Once again, I take it again, 08023622171. Thank you for listening to MNA Fine. And like I always say, there are other videos that I've shot which you can also watch on this particular page. And you can also get some of my books which I believe can help you to grow your business and your life. Thank you for listening to MNA Fine, and God bless you.